All right, good Tuesday morning. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Thought I'd take a look at the latest on our winter storm. You can actually see it developing here across the middle of the country. Here's where we've got a couple inches of snow already on the ground. You can see a couple locations, 4 or 5 inches. Look how cold the air mass is here over the northern plains. Boy, you think we're complaining about the cold air. Look at all that below zero weather. And this storm is moving to the south behind it, a little blast of Arctic air moving into the southern plains right now as this begins to take shape and then heads our way. I want to show you the water vapor loop quickly because you can kind of see the little energy coming out of the middle of the Rockies, really. Kind of an interesting setup here moving to the east. So let me show you what it looks like on the 500 millibar chart. We'll take a good look at what this looks like if you were to look at the what we call the vorticity. You see this little piece of energy at the 500 millibar level. This is the low that's going to move out into the central plain. So as we take a look at the watches and warnings across the country, you can see in the middle of your screen here, let me jack this up a little bit for you. You can see in the middle of your screen here, all the winter storm warnings are in pink for all of Oklahoma, the whole state of Oklahoma, except for one little county down here in the southeast is under a winter storm warning, and that likely will be a winter storm watch. But notice how the winter storm watches extend all the way into northern Alabama. That's kind of a sign of what's going to happen. But this is kind of an interesting setup, and I talked about this yesterday in my blog, that we're going to see this jump to the coast. And let me show you how that unfolds. This is our NAM model. We show you quite a bit on here. There's our low. This is all moisture, and this is the rain snow line well south down into central Louisiana and central Mississippi. You can see a very well-defined system, a lot of cold air on the backside. Let's go out a little bit further into the future. We'll go out, and this is basically Wednesday night. Notice we've got a low here, but we've got this other low now developing off the North Carolina coast. So the surface low, which was potent here, is trying to move energy to the coast, and notice how there's a void in between. And the timing of this happening, the energy jumping to the coast, is going to be key to how much snow we see in North Carolina, because we're going to watch the snow pile up to our west today and really tomorrow, and it's going to be heading right for us, and you're all going to say, boy, it looks like we're going to get dumped on. If you watch the radar, there's a good chance that could happen. But at some point in here, the energy is going to jump from the Gulf of Mexico to the southeast coast. And depending on where that happens, once the load transfers out here, you see the low down here over the Big Bend area of Florida, 1,012 millibars. But there's another low, 1,008 millibars, forming right here. The energy is transferring. So there will be a band, I think, of heavy snow in here, but where that sets up is all going to be based on the timing of this thing jumping to the coast, and then the coastal low takes over big time. 1,004 millibars cranks up, cold air pulls in on the backside, and then we start to dry things out. So that's what's going to kind of make things kind of interesting. Now, if I look at the soundings, this is all the models right now as of 12Z. The NAM model just got ingested into this. You can see this is a legend of snowfall in inches. All the models late Wednesday evening into Thursday morning show anywhere from about 0.2 of an inch of snow all the way up to 0.6, which is roughly around an inch of snow. And this is based on a 14-to-1 ratio of liquid to snow. Typically it's 10-to-1, but this is going to be a pretty cold air mass, so I'm thinking it's going to be more in the 14-to-1 range. But right now they're forecasting, based on the models, about 0.2 to 0.6 of an inch, so roughly an inch of snow or less. But our in-house model, which I'll play here quickly, let's go back, we'll let it loop through here. I want you to watch how this unfolds, because this is kind of interesting, how our in-house model, which is based off the WRF model, that we call this our futurecast, unfolds. We'll let this loop real quickly, and you'll see how this storm cranks up. This is an impressive looking low. I mean, look at this thing, and look at these heavy snow bands right in here. These are almost convective in nature, they look like, based on our RPM data. Look what it does when it brings it right over the Charlotte metro. It brings a band of very heavy snow. And again, that's likely an inch plus, maybe 2 inches, outside 3 inches, and then the energy shifts to the coast, which is kind of interesting. So this makes me pause a little bit. While this is just another piece of guidance, it's something I have to take into consideration. So I definitely have to kind of pay attention to this, because if I go out, if we play this thing out, we'll go back to the beginning here. Let's go back. We'll go back a couple frames, and you'll see how this thing, when it was cranked up on the coast, it started to pull the moisture out. But before it was able to do that, we got a band of very heavy snow right there. And again, if you look down at the bottom, this will kind of give you a time frame. This is 10Z. This is Thursday morning. So you're talking 5, 6, 7 a.m. time frame. You don't want to take this with a exact time, and then we start getting into the late morning hours, and then we go into the afternoon. The system's out here. So if you're to buy this model, you're looking at a lot of the snow falling late Wednesday night and Thursday morning, with the heaviest being right in there somewhere where this heavy snow band is, and you can see the amount of snow. This would really be some impressive snowfall totals right there. And if we look at the output of this model, and again, I'll zoom in a little bit here, you can see Charlotte is right here. Columbia is roughly right here. Rock Hill is here. Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville, Hickory, Boone. Anywhere you see that light blue, if you look over at my scale here, you can see that light blue is between 2 and 4 inches of snow. So there's a possibility that this model is probably overdoing the amount of snow, because I think it's building up these convective little snow bands. But because this model is so much higher than the other models, I kind of split the difference. We go from a 1/2 inch to 4 inches. It's likely going to be more in the 1 to 2 inch range. So I'm going to stick with my original thought of about 1 to 2 inches of snow. So simply based on this model, which if you look back to the west, I agree with this snow. This is, in the 4 to 6 range with some isolated 8-inch amounts over Arkansas. It shows that shift to the coast and things dropping off. So I tend to buy this up until the Carolinas, because there's going to be a shift from energy from inland to the coast, and that could jump all this snow over us, and we can end up not seeing much of anything. So as far as the amounts, this is what I had last night on the 11 o'clock news, and I'm going to stick with that. I think a pretty big swath of 1 to 2 inches, with some 2 to 4 inches in the upstate back to the west, and the southwestern mountains, probably maybe not even all the way up to Boone, maybe south and west of Boone, about 4 to 6 inches. So right now we've got the snow meter at a 3, and I don't see any reason to change that right now. We're going to stick with that and go with 1 to 2 inches, and likely because of these amounts of 1 to 2 inches, we won't see a winter storm watch or warning. This is just going to be a winter weather advisory, because that would meet the criteria for a winter weather advisory, 1 to 2 inches. It'll be a dry, powdery snow, and it could cause some slick spots on Thursday morning, but once this moves out, warmer air moves in. So that's the latest. Stay tuned to News Channel 36 for the latest. I'll be on starting at 4, 5, 5:30, and 6 today on News Channel 36. And if we get any changes, that's when I'll update our snowfall forecast as well as the snow meter. Hope you have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you today starting at 4.